Right now on News 3 this morning, Sunday, orange cones, detours, and path closures. Oh my! Construction season ramps up yet again in Madison. The changes you need to know before your work week commute. Plus, listening, learning, and doing a lot of catching up. The UW class of 1968 wraps up their 50-year reunion after days of reminiscing at their old stomping grounds. And after 7 years, Madison's composting program is coming to an end this week. Why many people in town can't seem to follow directions. Your news starts right now.
This is News 3 This Morning, Sunday.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us for News 3 This Morning, Sunday. It is June 17th. Happy Father's Day to all those father figures out there. I'm Josh Breiter with meteorologist Chris Reese, and kind of another stormy night for parts of the viewing area today. Kind of dealing with that heat yet, too.
That's right. Last night, oddly enough, a tornado hit parts of Columbia County. Thankfully, no injuries or major damage reported. They also dealt with flooding. In fact, a lot of rain did fall over Columbia County yesterday. The day before that, it was actually Dane County. But you see the bullseye of where so much water fell in a short amount of time. There's actually still a flood warning there that will last until 9 o'clock this morning. Once we get beyond 9 o'clock, that flood warning should expire. A lot of the water levels coming down because, well, over the past 3 hours, I mean, the rain has been out of here. Once that storm fell apart, there's been nothing, but there is a marginal risk of strong thunderstorms in Columbia County and points to the north and west once again as a cold front starts to slowly inch its way to the south. So we'll leave the rain chance in the forecast later on, especially after midnight. But it's still an alert day, primarily for the heat and humidity. Those heat indices are going to exceed triple digits as we get you into the afternoon and evening. It's 76 right now. You factor in the humidity, it actually feels like 76 right now. But as we go further into the afternoon, it'll feel like 89 by the time we get you towards 9 o'clock, 103. Ooh, yeah, by the time we get you towards the afternoon. Now, if you're going to be headed out this morning, so far traffic is moving smoothly. So that is the good news. No major issues showing up pretty much anywhere this morning, which is what we like to see for a Sunday, right? That's going to be the case for pretty much all of Dane County as well.
You know, I think I showered 3 times yesterday. It was just so sweaty and just so disgusting.
I did stay on the couch. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't want to be out in the heat.
All right, Chris, thank you.
No problem.
Happening tomorrow, a main artery for traffic connecting Madison's west side to Middleton will be closed. Part of Gammon Road and Park Street from Elmwood Avenue to Stonefield Road will remain closed for the next 2 months. No through traffic will be allowed. Drivers can take University Avenue to Elmwood Avenue as a detour until the route reopens on August 24th. Also, a reminder about a weekend-long closure on West Washington happening now. Westbound traffic heading away from the Capitol won't be able to go straight through Proudfoot Street and Regent Street again today. This is the area behind the Kohl Center close to the Budget Bicycle Shop. Those lanes will be closed through 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Crews there are replacing concrete. Starting tomorrow, bikers and joggers on Madison's west side might have to find a different route for the rest of the month. The bike path on West Wingara Drive between Fish Hatchery Road and South Park Street will be closed until the end of June while crews replace the pedestrian bridge over Wingara Creek. Cars shouldn't be affected by the project. New this morning, a 23-year-old Madison man is in police custody right now after a late-night fight downtown. Madison police say witnesses told them Jacob Eberhardt punched a 20-year-old man from Appleton shortly after midnight on the 400 block of North Francis Street. That's just outside the Museum of Contemporary Art. When police got there, an officer found the man laying on the ground unconscious. Now they arrested Eberhardt on suspicion of substantial battery. Right now, one person is dead after crashing their motorcycle into a minivan. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says just before noon Saturday, the 24-year-old motorcyclist was driving on Highway 73 near I-90 in the town of Albion when he crashed into a minivan turning onto the interstate. The 71-year-old driver of the minivan is being treated at a local hospital, but she's expected to be okay. Right now, 3 people are without a home this morning after a fire caused more than $100,000 in damage. Sun Prairie firefighters got the call during our 8 o'clock hour of News 3 this morning Saturday. It happened on the 300 block of MacArthur Road. That's just a few blocks away from North Bristol Street. Investigators say the fire started in the attic of the rental property. We're told the people living there won't be able to return. The good thing, though, nobody was hurt. The UW class of 1968 will head home later today after a whirlwind weekend of reminiscing, learning, and catching up. Graduates of UW-Madison from 1968 and those interested in the events of the 1960s have spent the weekend learning and discussing what happened on campus 50 years ago. Last night, they heard from several different speakers, mingled at an ice cream social, and capped things off with a 60s-themed party. The reunion started on Thursday and wraps up this afternoon. Right now, a Florida family is spending their weekend in Madison raising money for epilepsy research. Lemonade for Livy was started by Haley Shyman from Clearwater, Florida. She's trying to raise money for her sister Livy, who deals with severe epileptic seizures. They've been going around Shopkos around the country selling lemonade, with the profits going to the Epilepsy Foundation of America. They kicked off this year's tour in Green Bay, even getting some help from Green Bay Packer Brett Hundley. Haley says it's been an amazing experience to see all of the support.
It warms my heart really to see that people from so far away are getting involved.
The family raised more than $100,000 for research just last year. Happening now, it's the last week for Madison residents to compost their food scraps. The city announced last week it was ending the program after 7 years. Officials say people were putting too many non-compostable items in their carts, and the city had to pay hefty fees for the city of Middleton to clean up the mess. Compost from Madison has been processed in Middleton since the pilot program started in 2011. Madison planned to open its own biodigester by 2016, but due to the $30 to $35 million price tag, that never came to fruition. After the final collection this week, the Streets Division will circle back to collect participants' black refuse cards. More than half of the 25,000 students in the Madison Metropolitan School District qualify for free or reduced lunch during the school year. Of the 13,000 students who qualify for free and reduced lunch, less than 1/3 take advantage of it. Madison Metropolitan School District, in partnership with REAP Food Group, is kicking off its free summer food program starting tomorrow. From now through August 10th, REAP is providing free meals and educational activities at local parks and school to kids and their parents. You can stop by Elver, Celta, or Leopold Park, plus Centro Hispano and several other locations all summer. You can check out mmsd.org/food or text food to 877-877 to find a location near you. There's no need to sign up or register, and you don't have to show an ID to be served a meal. This week also marks the start of Madison School and Community Recreation summer camps. This video is from one of the MSCR's Police Club programs offered last year. This year, there are lots of activities happening to keep kids busy throughout the summer, from arts and crafts to activities to get them outside and moving. More than 7,600 children take part in 19 different summer camps every season. The summer session begins tomorrow. Well, if you're up this early, you might have missed the busy night for music around Madison Saturday, with concerts from the Doobie Brothers, Steely Dan, and some of the best blues musicians in the area. Hosted by the Madison Blues Society at Warner Park, several blues bands, included Madison natives Blythe Gamble and the Rolling Dice, all took the stage Saturday. The event has been free for 16 years and has grown every year. Organizers say the festival is meant to introduce people to the world of blues by presenting a mix of local and national acts. 6:38 this morning, while some ominous-looking clouds rolled into the area last night, luckily they didn't threaten crowds listening to the music. But our storms in our forecast for our Sunday. And when might we finally feel some relief from this heat and humidity? Chris will have all the details next in his First Alert forecast. And if you thought all vacations were relaxing, think again. After 6 months of fighting with an airline and more than $7,000 lost in airline tickets, one woman's travel nightmare has finally ended. What she learned that could help you on your next trip. The news is back in the morning right here on News 3 This Morning, Sunday.
Good morning and happy Father's Day to all of the dads out there. All the rain that fell across Columbia County yesterday is now out of here. Sunshine is the replacement with some cloud cover out there, but the heavy rain that fell yesterday was abundant. We are no longer tracking that heavy rain. There is still a flood warning that does last until 9 o'clock, but with a lot of the rainfall out of here, that flood warning should be allowed to expire. Still, at least a marginal risk for strong to severe thunderstorms this afternoon across the northern zones. A slight risk as you get up towards the north woods. There is a cold front inching its way southward. This will provide relief to our forecast. In fact, as we get you into Monday, we move that marginal risk south just a little bit. This time it does include the city of Madison and pretty much all of south central Wisconsin for the risk of some strong thunderstorms. That is mainly going to be tomorrow night and evening. We have the heat advisories in effect still going until 7 o'clock this afternoon. Excessive heat warnings for Cook County in Illinois. Excessive heat warnings for the Twin Cities still going. Temperatures right now pretty much in the 70s for all of us. La Crosse at 81 degrees right now, 76 degrees here in Madison. Then you start to factor in the humidity of what it's going to feel like. So here's temperatures going through the rest of the day. It'll be 88 as we get you towards lunchtime, 94 into the afternoon and evening. Will cool things off to about 75 tonight, and then tomorrow will warm things up into the mid and upper 80s once again. The humidity, it'll feel like 93 as we get you into this afternoon, 94 or 103, sorry, as we get you into the evening time with the humidity, and then things will cool off, and then tomorrow it'll feel hot once again, 85 in the morning, feeling like 99 as we get you into tomorrow afternoon. So there's a lot of heat and humidity in the forecast. 76 to 88 as we go through the rest of this morning, 94 degrees by the time we get you towards the afternoon. There is at least a slight chance that another shower or thunderstorm does pop up, just like we saw yesterday and the day before that. So do know of that. An alert day today for the heat and humidity, an alert day Monday for the heat, the humidity, and the potential for some strong storms, 70s. After that, with more rain chances as we get you towards the end of the extended forecast. Josh?
We could use a break from the rain, and I would like a little sunshine, not quite as much humidity, too. Can you do that, Chris?
That's right. We're going to get rid of some of that humidity once this front comes through. So Tuesday and into Wednesday, those will be the prime days in the upcoming week.
All right, Chris. Thank you.
No problem.
After more than 6 months of fighting with her airline, over $7,000 lost in plane tickets, a Madison woman's call for action ends in success. 3 days after hearing from our Leah Linscheid, American Airlines issued an apology and promised a full refund. But what can the rest of us learn about Michelle Christensen's travel nightmare, and would travel insurance have made all the difference? The answer is in this week's Call for Action report.
I'm a daddy's girl. I love him.
That bond between dad and daughter is the reason behind Michelle Christensen's call for action.
He contacted me and said that he's not going to be around a long time, and his wish is to have his children and his grandchildren get together.
Her dad was battling a life-threatening illness last year.
Sorry. Yes, it's very hard. It's hard to lose a parent or anyone that you're close to or that you love.
Michelle's family booked tickets for a dream vacation to St. Thomas, hoping to spend precious time with him. $7,000 later, though, the island was devastated by hurricanes and shut down to tourists.
I explained the situation to American Airlines, and finally they agreed to change the destination of the tickets to Florida.
This is where her family's dream vacation down south,
It was 4 a.m. I stayed up almost all night.
goes south.
We showed up at the airport thinking everything was good, and then when we got there, they were going to allow my minor son to board the plane, and they told me that the rest of us were not cleared to board.
4 of Michelle's 5 tickets were no good.
Anger. I was very angry. I knew that I paid for the tickets.
She had to repurchase $3,000 in tickets to fly out the next day.
I felt taken advantage of, and I didn't really feel like I had a choice because my father is important to me and this was important to him.
It's one of the big reasons people take vacations is to try and have an opportunity to relax, recharge.
Nick Jarmus with AAA says a policy probably would have made all the difference for Michelle.
So if you do have tickets or reservations that were non-refundable, that are canceled due to something like a natural disaster, you can recoup those costs by filing a claim with the travel insurance.
The insurance also helps cover emergency medical care while abroad, changes in travel plans, or in flights.
These are the copies of the documents that I sent to American Airlines.
6 months later, Michelle called for action, still trying to get her $7,000 back.
Who I talked to, when I talked to them.
After we got involved, American Airlines responded, telling us it will refund Michelle in full, blaming the delay on changes to the reservation and Michelle's credit card dispute. That's not the only good news for Michelle. Her father,
Hi, Dad. How are you doing?
currently in treatment for his illness, is still with her and doing well.
I don't get to see him. I'm not there often enough. It's hard. I'm not there to help him through his issues.
She's hoping now, with a refund on the way, that distance will become shorter.
That's good.
In Madison, I'm Leah Lynchide for WISC News 3.
Michelle's case was complicated because she used a third party to help book her tickets. Both American Airlines and AAA suggest if you have an issue with your trip, work with that third party before reaching out to other parties to see if they can help resolve the problem. Tomorrow on News 3 This Morning, we'll explore several other travel scams you should be aware of before heading on summer vacation. 6:48 this morning, the city of Janesville is taking another step forward in the fight to go green and see the ways one of Wisconsin's largest industries is trying to reduce their carbon footprint to cut greenhouse gases. The changes researchers suggest dairy farmers make next on News 3 This Morning, Sunday.
Good morning and happy Father's Day to all of you out there. Today does remain an alert day for the heat and the humidity this time feeling like 95 to 105 out there. So make sure you're staying hydrated, drinking all of that water, and taking it easy if you're going to be outside. Heat indices will rise to about 103 by 4 o'clock this afternoon, and it's already going to be hot very quickly out there. Today, the hottest of all of the alert days, especially as we get you towards next week. Temperatures begin to come down. In fact, we have a day or two that'll be below average, and then we warm things back up towards next weekend. So today and tomorrow, and then we cool things down just a bit. Josh.
All right, Chris, thank you. Right now, Janesville is going green. This week, the city installed 2 electric car chargers and a downtown parking ramp. The charging stations are on the bottom level of the parking garage on North Parker Drive. The city asks only people who are actively charging their cars park there. We often hear about changes people can make to reduce our carbon footprint and cut back on greenhouse gases. The same holds true for Wisconsin's mighty dairy industry. Cows have their own massive carbon footprint, and UW researchers are looking for ways to reduce it. News 3's Eric Franke explains.
At the UW Dairy Cattle Center on campus, cows are being breathalyzed. There are plenty of spotted cows in this barn, but these cows are being tested for methane gas on their breath.
Most of the carbon footprints associated with the production and consumption of milk takes place on the farm.
Scientists say methane, with cows often the source, has increased exponentially in our atmosphere over the past 200 years. UW dairy researcher Michelle Watteau wants to do something about it.
The numbers are easy to remember, actually. It's for every pounds of milk that you would consume, there is 2 pounds of CO2 equivalent emitted in the atmosphere.
And all that methane doesn't come from where you might think it does.
So the cow eats the feed and it goes into her rumen, which is the first stomach where the fermentation takes place. So 90% of the methane coming out of the cow comes out the front end as she breathes out the oxygen through her lungs.
That's why they're trapping the exhaled gas in what's called a green feed system, operated here by grad student Elias Udine.
For that, we kind of use a treat for bringing cows inside the machine.
You basically try to capture the breath of the cow, measure the methane, and try to measure the flow, how much gas goes through, so that you can measure the amount of methane that comes out of the cow.
Baiting these Holsteins with treats, they looked at which feed would produce the most methane.
We had 4 diets in our experiments. So first 2 diets we had low fiber, and other 2 diets had high fiber.
Obviously, we're trying to change the diet composition such that the cow still have all the nutrients she needs to produce the milk, but with less methane.
Measuring the methane while feeding was only the first step of a 3-step experiment. Next, they measured emissions from stored manure, and then a 3rd step last fall measured emissions from manure when it's typically spread on a farmer's field. And that's when yet another dangerous greenhouse gas comes into play.
The nitrous oxide comes from primarily the nitrogen fertilizer that we apply to the soil, and that includes commercial fertilizer as well as the nitrogen in the manure of the cow.
The goal is to help the dairy industry overall reduce its carbon footprint by 25% by the year 2020.
It's not going to be a one-size-fits-all, right? It's going to be a kind of a menu of options, depending how you feed your cows, how you produce your feed, how you handle the manure.
And by next year, they hope to turn over their findings to dairy producers.
What we hope to achieve is to provide farmers with, what fits best for their particular operation.
The UW is just one of 4 places in the world conducting tests for greenhouse gas emissions from dairy. 6:56 now. There is still a full hour of News 3 ahead on News 3 This Morning Sunday. Next, we're running through the morning's top stories, including a downtown fight that landed 1 man in jail. But first, here's a preview of what's to come on an all-new For the Record.
Good morning, I'm Neil Heinen. Today on For the Record, we'll introduce you to a new program aimed at preventing domestic abuse and violence against women. It's called MENS, Men Encouraging Nonviolent Strength, and it is what's known as a primary prevention strategy. I'll be talking about it with Day's Training and Education Coordinator Mallory Sauer and La Follette High School Dean of Students Jerome Flowers. And that's coming up this morning at 10:30 on WISC.
Family separations surging at the border. The latest group to speak out against the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy.
This is News 3 This Morning Sunday.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning Sunday. It is 7 o'clock on this June 17th. Happy Father's Day. I'm Josh Breiter. Chris will join us with your forecast in just a moment, but first let's get to today's headlines. A 23-year-old Madison is in police custody this morning after a late-night fight downtown. Madison police say witnesses told them Jacob Eberhardt punched a 20-year-old man from Appleton shortly after midnight on the corner block of North Francis Street. That's just outside the Museum of Contemporary Art. When police got there, an officer found the man laying on the ground unconscious. Eberhardt was arrested on the suspicion of substantial battery. Happening tomorrow, a main artery for traffic connecting Madison's west side to Middleton will be closed. Part of Gammon Road and Park Street from Elmwood Avenue to Stonefield Road will be closed for the next 2 months. No through traffic will be allowed. Drivers can take University Avenue to Elmwood Avenue as a detour until the route reopens on August 24th. Also a reminder about a weekend-long closure on West Washington happening now. Westbound traffic heading away from the Capitol won't be able to go straight through Proudfoot Street and Regent Street again today. This is the area behind the Kohl Center, close to the Budget Bicycle Shop. Those lanes will be closed through 7 o'clock tomorrow morning as crews are replacing concrete. It's the last week for Madison residents to compost their food scraps. The city announced last week it was ending the program after 7 years. Officials say people were putting too many non-compostable items in their carts. The city had to pay hefty fees for the city of Middleton to clean up the mess. Madison planned to open its own biodigester by 2016, but due to the $30 to $35 million price tag, that never came to fruition. After the final collection this week, the Streets Division will circle back to collect participants' black refuse carts. Another hot one out there today as we join Chris. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Josh. It is another hot one, also another alert day due to the heat and the humidity. In fact, it'll be feeling like near 103 degrees as we get you into the afternoon. Make sure you're reducing that outdoor activity, drinking plenty of water. Our polar bear at the Henry Vilas Zoo swimming around doing pretty much what we're all going to want to do, especially if you have to be outdoors by any means. Temperatures this morning right now are in the upper 70s. You factor in the humidity, it feels a couple degrees warmer, feeling like 79 here in Madison. La Crosse feeling like 84 degrees right now. The heat index, is going to be the big story as we go throughout the day. By 9 o'clock, feeling like 89, feeling like 103 by the time we get you towards 4 o'clock. So especially as you get later into the afternoon, if you're going to be out by that grill, drink plenty of water. Water is the way to go today. Traffic moving smoothly across town right now, so that is good news. No major backups, no major delays here in Madison or across Dane County as a whole. If you are coming in from the surrounding times, do know it'll take you about your usual time. A little bit of a slowdown between Sauk City and Middleton, but checking on camera, no big issues showing up. Josh.
All right, Chris, thank you. 7:03 this morning. Right now, people are cleaning up after a line of strong storms passed through north of Madison last night. This is video from a News 3 viewer of a tornado near Drake Road in Poinet. We're still waiting for official reports of what kind of damage it caused. Remember, you can always share your pictures of storm damage on our Channel 3000 Facebook page. The cleanup also continues in Madison after Friday night's pounding rain knocked down trees, flooded streets and homes, and dislodged manhole covers. Several trees reportedly fell on cars. One car owner says he just moved to town 2 months ago, and this was the first severe storm he's experienced. He says he's thankful for the help from neighbors and is glad nothing worse happened.
You know, luckily for us, it's not on our house. Nobody was in the car. Nothing that's going to affect us long term. So we're thankful for that.
Whole Foods hopes to reopen today after closing because of Saturday's flooding. The Red Cross says it helped 6 people who were displaced after an apartment complex flooded. There's no word yet on when the people will be able to move back in. A part of the Beltline was also flooded during that storm. Here's new video of cars standing still, waiting for water to recede between Whitney Way and Midvale Boulevard near Verona Road. A lot of cars trying to pass through the water stalled out. Even some emergency vehicles struggled to get through. Recent rain certainly didn't cool things off in Madison this weekend. Much of the area is still under a heat advisory until later tonight. Families tried to beat the heat playing in the splash pad over at Lakeview Park in Middleton. So far, no official cooling shelters have been opened in the area, but officials are reminding people that libraries can be a good place to go if your home doesn't have air conditioning. They're also encouraging people to drink plenty of water. Right now, as temperatures reach highs in the 90s and into the months ahead, state transportation officials are warning drivers about pavement buckling. The hot weather means conditions are perfect for this to happen. The heat causes slabs of pavement to expand and push against each other, which can result in buckling if the pressure becomes too much. The DOT is advising drivers to check the 511 travel information system before making any trips. Drivers can report serious pavement issues by calling 911. 7:05. Right now, family separations are surging at the border amid the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy. One public defender says about 500 children have been separated from their families since May, including an undocumented mother who says her baby was taken while she was breastfeeding. Ed Lavendera reports.
Hundreds, possibly thousands of undocumented immigrants have been separated after crossing the border in the last month. It's the emotional fallout from the Trump administration's attempt to prosecute all migrants who've illegally entered the United States. Natalia Cornelio, an attorney with the Texas Civil Rights Project, has met with dozens of these families and describes the controversial zero-tolerance policy as torture.
One of the women that I interviewed today told me that she was breastfeeding her daughter when the government took her daughter from her. And when she resisted, she said that was when they put handcuffs on her.
Other activists say some families have been misled by federal authorities so that the children can be separated and sent to different detention facilities. A Customs and Border Protection official says nothing could be further from the truth, and these allegations are unsubstantiated. The zero-tolerance policy is such a dramatic change that it is confusing and appears arbitrary. On the bridges across the Rio Grande, federal agents are often standing right at the international boundary, turning away many immigrants, some who come requesting asylum. It's a move immigrant rights activists say they've never seen before. And while hundreds of immigrants are escorted by bus into federal court in McAllen, Texas, to face a judge, just a block away at an immigrant shelter, hundreds who also crossed illegally have been released. With tears in his eyes, Arbid Moran feels like one of the lucky ones. He and his son crossed the Rio Grande a week ago in a raft.
¿Te llevaron a la corte? Did they take you to court?
No.
¿Te separaron del hijo? Did they separate you from your child?
He was given a court date and a GPS ankle monitor. Now he's on his way to reunite with family in Colorado. A Department of Homeland Security official says the number of undocumented immigrants handed over to federal prosecutors has doubled in the last month. But it's still not clear why and how some are sent to court and others are released.
We have a goal, and that goal is to end the lawlessness that now exists in our immigration system.
Miguel Nogueras, a federal public defender, says the Trump administration's border crackdown is inhumane.
I don't think that this represents the values of the American people.
The president of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops criticized the new immigration policy and calling it immoral. The Department of Homeland Security responded saying they don't have a policy of separating families, but they are increasing referrals for prosecution. Right now, at least 17 people, including 8 minors, are dead after suffocating from tear gas at a party in Venezuela. More than 500 people were at the party inside a club in a middle-class neighborhood in Caracas when a fight broke out. It caused someone to turn on a device spreading tear gas. That party was a pre-graduation event. Now Venezuelan officials are investigating and have ordered the club to shut down. In Moscow, Russian police are investigating after a taxi crashed into pedestrians on a sidewalk Saturday near Red Square. 8 people were injured in that incident. Police say the driver is being detained. Authorities don't believe the event is linked to terrorism. They say the driver allegedly fell asleep at the wheel when he lost control of the vehicle. Witnesses say the man tried to run away after the crash. The survivors of the high school shooting in Parkland, Florida will visit Madison this Friday. Ahead of that trip, the students stopped in Chicago this weekend, joined by hundreds of people showing their support for ending gun violence. The Parkland teens took a bit of a back seat at the event, letting their spotlight shine on the city's youth movement, which has struggled to get the same kind of attention. Celebrities like Chance the Rapper and Jennifer Hudson pumped up the crowd of thousands as they took to the South Side streets.
We're anti-gun violence. We're here for peace, so we're going to go We're going to walk down the streets and we're going to get extremely loud.
The March for Our Lives tour stops in Madison this Friday. We'll bring you more information on our website, channel3000.com, as soon as it becomes available. 7:10 on this Father's Day. If you can't beat the heat, just hop in the water. We'll take you to one-of-a-kind race here in Madison. How very energetic participants described their experience both in and out of the lakes. This is News 3 This Morning, Sunday.
Good morning, happy Father's Day. Another beautiful morning that we have out here, but the steam is already on. You can feel the humidity outside, and the sweat factor will be very real, especially as we go through the rest of the afternoon and evening. Here's a live look from the Edgewater right now. Almost looks kind of cloudy. It's really just hazy from all of the moisture that we do have in the air. Temperatures in the upper 70s right now. Some cloud cover. Dew points, get this, are in the low 70s. Yesterday, they were in the low 60s, so there is a lot more thickness to the air as you step outside today. That is going to drive the heat advisories to continue pretty much until 7 o'clock today, when things will finally begin to cool down. Excessive heat warnings over in Chicago. Same for the Twin Cities. Excessive heat warnings also in play for the St. Louis metro area right now. Oddly enough, in St. Louis, it feels like 85 degrees already this morning, feeling like 83 in Chicago, and the day is only just now getting started, so we're going to see that heat really begin to amplify as we go through the rest of the afternoon. Temperatures this morning, or well, here's the dew points first of all, that shows you all of the moisture that is coming up through the Mississippi River Valley and the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. Here we are. High pressure sitting over Kentucky right now that's driving up a southerly wind flow. It's that southerly wind flow that is really going to add the moisture and the warmer temperatures as we go through the day. So temperatures are in the upper 70s right now, 81 as we go through La Crosse. Here's what happens as we push the play button on the rest of this afternoon. By lunchtime, 88 degrees. We get you over towards 4 o'clock. Temperatures will likely be in the low and mid 90s for some of us. We'll cool down into the mid 70s overnight tonight before warming back up towards 86 tomorrow. You factor in the humidity, it's going to be feeling like 103 into the afternoon. Then we get you towards tomorrow afternoon. It'll feel close to 100 degrees once again. So that's what we'll really have to pay attention to. Temperatures rising from 76 to 88 degrees as we get you through the morning. By this afternoon, 94. And then we'll finally cool things off just a little bit. We have a rain chance coming in Monday night and into Tuesday. That's going to bring temperatures back down into the 70s, sunshine and low humidity by Wednesday, Josh.
And just to think, it's not even officially summer quite yet either.
It is not summer. Summer starts, oddly enough, once we get the cool down this week.
There we go. All right, Chris, thank you.
No problem.
We've been asking you to share your morning with us. Check this out. Denise Simey posted this on our Facebook page of a sunrise in Stoughton. Wow, beautiful shot there. Thanks for sharing, Denise. So what does your morning look like? Take a picture and post it to the Channel 3000 Facebook page or on Twitter or Instagram using the hashtag MyNews3Morning. We'll share our favorites right here on News 3 This Morning. And it, of course, is Father's Day today, a time to celebrate all of the father figures out there and all they do for us year-round. Some of us at News 3 wanted to honor our dads, too, so we're showing off their pictures this morning. Hopefully you can make time to call your dad today, or at least had time to send them a card. According to Hallmark, Father's Day is the 4th largest card-selling holiday in the country. The holiday has been around since President Lyndon Johnson signed a proclamation calling for Father's Day in 1966. Right now, with temperatures soaring, it's another beautiful day to hit the lake. And that's what dozens of canoers did Saturday as they made their way across the city. It was the 39th annual Paddle and Portage. Canoers paddled for a mile loop around Lake Mendota, took off on foot from James Madison Park across the isthmus to Lake Monona. We caught up with paddlers at Old Brick Park. Participants tell us it was all the energy of the bystanders that helped them make it.
There were times where it definitely burned, but oh man, running past the Capitol was great. You have all the people from the farmers market there just like cheering you on, and the hot dog costume's kind of hard to miss, so people are just like pointing you out. So much fun, very motivational.
That was Nicholas Kozeski. He dressed up as a hot dog because he wanted to stand out, which he obviously did. He tells News 3 he can't wait to be back again next year. Just about 7:18 on this Sunday. It's an incredible weekend in theaters, literally. A superhero sequel is now showing, and it's sure to break some records. Next, we hear from the big-name actors reprising their roles nearly 15 years later. What that experience was like when News 3 This Morning Sunday returns.
The heat index is going to be the big term of the day. Temperatures will feel like they're in the 80s very soon, if they haven't already for a lot of you, feeling like triple digits by the time we get you towards 4 o'clock. So drink plenty of water, reduce that outdoor activity. If you're going to be the grill master this afternoon, have the water on standby and step inside as much as you possibly can. Relief comes later on tonight, but mainly on Monday night as a cold front slips on through here. You'll notice showers and thunderstorms developing early Monday afternoon that last pretty much through Monday night. Temperatures will fall into the 70s at that point, and then they fall into the 70s for our highs by the time we get you from Tuesday through the end of the upcoming work week. The heat and humidity returns a little bit towards next weekend, but even still, it's much cooler with temperatures only getting into the 80s. Josh.
All right, Chris, thank you. 7:22 this morning. Nearly 14 years after The Incredibles redefined big screen superheroes, the animated blockbuster's creators and cast are back with a new adventure. And once the numbers come in this afternoon, the new film is expected to have broken some big records. David Daniel caught up with the cast to talk about the sequel.
Superheroes are illegal.
We want to fight bad guys. It defines who I am.
We're not saying you have... What?
The super-powered Parr family returns in Incredibles 2 as Elastigirl goes to work and Mr. Incredible tries being a stay-at-home dad.
Hey, honey, how are the kids?
Everything's great.
Is she having adolescence?
And Jack?
He's in excellent health.
We're floored by how brilliant. How did Brad do this?
Brad, of course, is Brad Bird, writer and director of both Incredibles movies.
I always wanted to do another Incredibles because I had such fun doing the first film. And it was the only time in my career so far that I've gotten to take something from initial seed of an idea through to completion.
Catherine Keener and Bob Odenkirk, who play siblings, were thrilled to join the franchise.
If somebody says, Brad Bird wants to call you, you go, I don't care why. I want to, you know.
I'm surprised at how much Brad is able to challenge his audience and reward them.
I'll be there ASAP.
Bird showed Samuel L. Jackson, who's back as Frozone, an early clip.
He showed it to me immediately when I was in the studio. He said, wait till you see this. This is great. And I was just awed. And it was the funniest thing I had seen.
The sequel picks up right where the original left off. But in real life, 14 years brought a lot of advances in animation, leading to some subtle but important changes.
The characters still look like the characters, but they look like we wanted them to look in the first one.
The technology sort of caught up to our aspirations for the first film.
I couldn't have done this if you hadn't taken over so well.
I've got to succeed so she can succeed.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
The Incredibles 2 is the first studio animated film of the summer, and it's set to make a big mark. Analysts give the superhero sequel a chance to break the debut record for an animated movie set by Finding Dory, $135 million. 7:24 right now. Still to come this morning, a check of today's top stories, including the construction changes you'll want to know about ahead of your work week commute. And after a whirlwind weekend of listening, learning, and doing a lot of catching up, the UW class of 1968 wraps up their 50th year reunion. Stay with us. The news is back in the morning right here on News 3 This Morning, Sunday. Home for the holiday. A young father getting a second chance on life and the chance to spend the Father's Day with his family despite an often deadly brain cancer diagnosis.
This is News 3 This Morning Sunday.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning Sunday, just before 7:30 on this June 17th. Happy Father's Day to all those father figures out there. I'm Josh Breiter. We're going to check on the weather with Chris in just a couple of minutes, but first, let's get to today's headlines. Right now, a 23-year-old Madison man is in police custody after a late-night fight in downtown. Madison police say witnesses told them Jacob Eberhardt punched a 20-year-old man from Appleton. It happened shortly after midnight on the 400 block of North Francis Street outside the Museum of Contemporary Art. When police got there, an officer found the man laying on the ground unconscious. They arrested Eberhardt on suspicion of substantial battery. A main artery for traffic connecting Madison's west side to Middleton will be closed starting tomorrow. Part of Gammon Road and Park Street from Elmwood Avenue to Stonefield Road will remain closed for the next 2 months. No through traffic will be allowed. Drivers can take University Avenue to Elmwood Avenue as a detour until the route reopens on August 24th. And this reminder about a weekend-long closure on West Washington happening now. Westbound traffic heading away from the Capitol won't be able to go straight through Proudfoot Street and Regent Street again today. This is the area behind the Kohl Center. Those lanes will be closed through 7 o'clock tomorrow morning so crews can replace concrete. It is the last week for Madison residents to compost their food scraps. The city announced last week it was ending the program after 7 years because people were putting too many non-compostable items in their carts. The city had to pay hefty fines for the city of Middleton to clean up the mess. Madison planned to open its own biodigester in 2016, but due to the $30 to $35 million price tag, that never came to fruition. After the final collection this week, the Streets Division will circle back to collect participants' black refuse carts. And Chris joins us now with your Father's Day forecast. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, Josh. Good morning to everyone else out there, especially all the dads. Happy Father's Day to you all. It's hot already, feeling like 79 degrees this morning. Go up towards La Crosse. It's already feeling like 84. We'll watch this continue to rise throughout the day. In fact, by lunchtime, it'll likely feel like 94. We get you towards 4 o'clock, it'll likely feel like 103. Dinner inside this afternoon and evening because otherwise you're just going to be sweaty. It's going to be hot. It'll be gross. We do have relief that is on the way. Temperatures will reach 94 as we get you into this afternoon. Check this out. 10 o'clock tonight, temperatures will likely still be in the 80s, but you see the rain showers moving in from the north. That is a cold front ever so slowly working its way on into town. Clouds will move in by lunchtime on Monday. Showers developing Monday afternoon and especially into Monday evening as that cold front pushes on through the south. Temperatures then relax a little bit. After that, we're going down to 75 on Tuesday, staying through the 70s for next week. So once we get through today and the steam that we have for the first half of Monday especially, it will feel a lot better. Traffic continues to move smoothly this morning, even downtown. No major issues, even with all the construction projects that are going on. If you are going to be coming in from the suburbs, going towards the Beltline, the only real slowdown is around Verona Road, where we will have that construction that continues to be ongoing. Josh.
All right, thanks, Chris. 7:31 right now. The UW's class of 1968 will head home later today after a whirlwind weekend of reminiscing, learning, and catching up. Graduates of UW-Madison from 1968 and those interested in the events of the 60s have spent the weekend learning and discussing what happened on the campus 50 years ago. Last night, they heard from several different speakers, mingled at an ice cream social, and capped things off with the 60s-themed party. The reunion started on Thursday and wraps up this afternoon. It's the last week for Madison residents to compost their food scraps. The city announced last week it was ending the program after 7 years because people were putting too many non-compostable items in their carts. The city had to pay hefty fines for the city of Middleton to clean up the mess. Compost from Madison has been processed in Middleton since the pilot program started in 2011. Madison planned to open its own biodigester by 2016, but due to the up to $35 million price tag, that never came to fruition. The final collection is this week, and the Streets Division will circle back to collect participants' black refuse carts. More than half of the 25,000 students in the Madison Metropolitan School District qualify for free or reduced lunch during the school year. But of the 13,000 students who qualify for free and reduced lunch, less than 1/3 take advantage of it. Madison Metropolitan School District, in partnership with REAP Food Group, is kicking off its summer food program starting tomorrow. From now through August 10th, REAP is providing free meals and educational activities at local parks and school to kids and their parents. You can stop by Elver, Southdale, or Leopold Park, plus Central Hispano and several other locations all summer. You can also check out mmsd.org/food or text food to 877-877 to find a location near you. There's no need to sign up or register. You also don't need to show an ID to be served a meal. This week also marks the start of Madison School and Community Recreation summer camps. This video is from one of MSCR's Police Club programs offered last year. This year, there are a lot of activities happening to keep kids busy throughout the summer, from arts and crafts to activities to get them outside and moving. More than 7,600 children take part in the 19 different summer camps every season. That summer session begins tomorrow. 7:34 this morning, it is Father's Day, and one young man is getting the chance to celebrate with his kids despite an often deadly diagnosis. But experimental treatments are helping some patients live longer. Kenneth Craig introduces us to the young father who's had promising results thanks to cutting-edge treatments.
Chris Amundsen cherishes every moment as a new dad with his 9-month-old daughter, Sarah.
She's a daddy's girl.
Oh, yeah. We first met Chris and his wife, Laura, 3 years ago when he was diagnosed with glioblastoma. Average survival is just 15 months for the aggressive brain cancer, a prognosis the couple refused to accept.
You just can't listen if somebody tells you that there's nothing you can do.
So Chris enrolled in a clinical trial at Lenox Hill Hospital in New York City under Dr. John Bukvar. High doses of chemotherapy were delivered to his tumor in a new way, through the artery instead of the vein. The tumor disappeared until a few months ago when the 40-year-old had a seizure.
I knew what was happening.
Chris's tumor was back, and now he's in a new study using a similar approach, this time targeting genetic mutations in the tumor with a different drug.
Through a microcatheter that's basically sitting on the doorstep of his tumor. We're opening the door and spraying his tumor with high doses of this drug, cetuximab. And we're also providing radiation to this at the same time.
Only 5% of patients with glioblastoma live for 5 years, but Dr. Bukvar says those numbers are increasing.
My goal for someone like Chris, let's get you to 5 years, because 5 years from now, who knows what we're going to advance with.
After 2 treatments, Chris's tumor is shrinking again.
When you first saw these scans side by side.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is unbelievable.
This weekend, he's celebrating his first Father's Day.
He got the first hug. He gets the first wave. I'm pretty sure she's saying, Dad, Dad.
And the chance to keep fighting.
Our goals are to live our life in a normal way because we know he's going to survive this.
Why?
Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Comac, New York.
Chris is scheduled to have a third treatment as part of this new clinical trial in a couple of months. Still to come now, 7:36 this morning, at a time when the country is divided, some in Madison are making time for unity. That's the theme for this year's Stage Q production of Queer Shorts. We'll go backstage with Michael Bruno when News 3 This Morning Sunday continues.
And if you're curious for a good way to spend today, take a little tip from Barrett the polar bear at Henry Violet Stew. He is doing exactly what I would love to be doing right now, but you know what? I'm on here tracking all of the heat for you guys. In fact, we're going to watch the heat indices rise towards 105 this afternoon for a lot of spots. So be sure you are ready to sweat if you are going to be outdoors. The same goes for Monday. It will not be as hot, but we'll be tracking heat that will have the potential to feel like triple digits once again. Rain chances do arrive, especially as we get you into Monday afternoon. This is all a cold front that'll be moving into town. Temperatures coming down after that by Tuesday. Mid-70s will be about as good as it gets, or can we say it's the greatest? I don't know about you all, but I'm looking forward to Tuesday.
All right, Chris, thank you. And here's some more video to make you smile this morning for a young man dancing outside a Mississippi gas station. The video was taken in Jackson, and it features a group showing off their best dance moves. One of the members say they were swimming earlier in the day and decided to make a video. The video was posted on Facebook, and it's been shared thousands of times, racking up millions of views already. The gas station owner encourages the guys, saying he'd rather have them dancing in the parking lot, doing something positive. The boys have been friends for more than 5 years. 7:41 right now. It has become an annual tradition at the Bartell Theater and Stage Q in the month of June, Gay Pride Month. This year's theme for Queer Shorts is unity, and pieces by local and international playwrights are included in the celebration. Our Michael Bruno goes backstage at this year's Queer Shorts.
Do you want to know why I didn't come out to you sooner? Because of all the terrible things you said about your bisexual ex.
Wait, what? Wait, me, bisexual ex?
Queer Shorts is it's an annual play festival, and one of the unique things is for us is we get to explore plays that are written by both local and international talents, and we get brand new directors, we get seasoned directors, we get actors who are seasoned, we get actors who are have done this many times. So it's an opportunity for the community as a whole to come and experience theater, new, old, and experience. So it's exciting.
Oh, who was that? Was that right? John, who in high school was Jenny. So a girl just went in the guy's room?
Queer Shorts is all about really great human connection and seeing really good theater in the community. And it's something that you don't always get in sort of this like short play festival type atmosphere, but I mean, these plays explore so many different types of relationships and human connection.
Do you need any help telling Mom?
I tried telling Mom a couple years ago.
What?
I was dating a guy and I told her, but we broke up before I could introduce him to her. I think I only wanted them to meet to prove it to her. She didn't understand.
I saw a post for directors, and generally I haven't had great luck being cast, but people have let me direct. So between like auditioning for it and directing for it, I was like, I think I have a better shot directing. I ended up understudying as well, and actually going up on stage understudying.
After she met Sam a few weeks ago, she asked if that meant I was straight again. So...
Maybe we can get her a book or a pamphlet or something. Like when I came out?
And what's it like actually watching your actors bring your piece to life?
Yeah, that was a unique experience. I never actually wrote. This is my first time having a play produced that I wrote. So it has been a very unique, interesting experience seeing people act it out and seeing a director's interpretation of it.
Oh my God!
What?
There's a priest over there! Look for yourself, he just got out of his car!
Cheese and crackers!
I decided to play my character Scott as an over-the-top neurotic gay man. And my concern about that was that he would be seen as being a cliche or a hackneyed character. But I decided that, you know, there's such a force for us to assimilate into this culture and to act straight and to fit in. This is Mrs. Perkins.
Hello, Mrs. Perkins.
We don't have to assimilate. We can maintain our individuality as queer people and show who we really are, and it's okay.
You still have time to celebrate Pride Month and catch Queer Shorts for yourself. It's showing at the Bartell Theater now through next Saturday, June 23rd. Tickets are $20 and you can get them online at thebartelltheater.org. 7:45 this morning. After a sweaty and sticky Saturday, it seems as if the heat and humidity are here to stay. A live look over the Capitol on this Sunday morning. Happy Father's Day to all those father figures out there. Chris is in next with your forecast and when we might finally see some relief. But first, if you have a little kid turning 3 today, please let us know so we can show their picture on TV. Here's a look at who's 3 today.
Some cloud cover this morning, but we continue to track the heat and the humidity that will be moving on into town for yet another day. Live look over the Edgewater right now. No rain falling, but a little bit hazy out there. We're going to keep that around. Temperatures are in the upper 70s, dew points in the lower 70s. So the air is truly the air that you can wear as you step outside today. Heat advisories for all of us remain in effect until 7 o'clock this afternoon. If you're headed down to Chicago, there is an excessive heat warning there. Same goes if you were headed up towards the Twin Cities today. So keep that in mind. We're not the only ones. In fact, the excessive heat warnings remain in play for the St. Louis metro area as well. Heat advisories extend as far east as the Detroit area. It feels like 85 in St. Louis right now, feels like 83 in Chicago, 80 in Minneapolis, and it feels like 79 here in Madison. The dew points well into the 70s. We'll keep that going. In fact, we actually have a southerly wind flow that is really driving that moisture into town. A high pressure system over Kentucky right now. It is hot and humid on the western flank of that. There's a stalled out front just to the north that has kept a lot of those storm chances around around for the north woods. That will gradually work its way south and southeast overnight and into tomorrow, bringing in the relief that we need. But until then, that southerly wind is going to keep temperatures warming up towards 88 by the time we get you to lunchtime, 94 by the time we get you into the peak heating of the day. We'll cool down into the 70s overnight and then rebound tomorrow, but only make it into the mid and upper 80s. You factor in what it's going to feel like with humidity. We'll reach triple-digit heat into this afternoon, and then towards tomorrow we'll reach 99 on the heat index scale there, 100s as you work your way just to the south into Illinois. Temperatures this morning will be warming from the 70s and into the upper 80s as we get you into the afternoon. 94 degrees will likely be that high temperature today. Eventually the rain showers come in and they will work to cool us off. 75 by the time we get you into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll also see temperatures that will remain into the 70s, so that's good news. Now let's extend this and look out 10 days. We will continue to see additional rain chances towards the end of that. So by next weekend, we'll have more heat and humidity coming back into the picture. However, rain chances will prevent us from getting as hot as we are, say, this weekend.
70s, that's going to be refreshing.
70s will be very refreshing. By the way, here is the pet walk. If you were dreaming of 70s, not today. You've got to wait a couple days, but I just have to say Roxy looks flawless this morning.
She's working it.
Yes, she is. So how about that?
All right, Chris. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Josh.
We'll stay with News 3 throughout the day. Tonight at 5:30 and 10. You've probably heard of Woodstock. What about Woofstock? We'll take you there. But first, going above the call of duty, the Midwestern firefighters saving a dog and sharing quite the story, too. That's just ahead on News 3 This Morning, Sunday. Welcome back at 7:54 this morning. Finally this morning, Minnesota firefighters say it was a call unlike any they've received. A dog was stranded on a roof.
Firefighters didn't know just how complicated the situation was until they arrived at the scene. Susan Elizabeth Littlefield explains.
There are many words to describe 5-year-old Whiskey.
He's a big, old, hairy, lovable, slobbery St. Bernard. But he's a great dog.
Whiskey is Renee Ross' grand dog. She's dog sitting as her son trains in the National Guard.
It's the life we chose, he chose, and I appreciate his patriotism.
Renee was fulfilling her duty, dog sitting, Friday night, making dinner, when she heard a ruckus upstairs.
I ran up to see what was happening, and the dog wasn't in there, and I just thought the worst.
It wasn't worst case scenario, but it certainly could have been better. 180-pound Whiskey had knocked out the screen and jumped through the window. Thankfully, he landed on this small patch of roof.
I mean, he was standing there, and he kept looking over on the garage. I'm like, don't jump. I ended up calling the fire department, and thankfully they came over. I can't imagine what that dispatch message sounded like. Yeah, there is a St. Bernard on the roof. And they'll be like, what?
We do occasionally get the cat in a tree call, but dog on a roof, not so much.
Still, the Spring Lake Park firefighters sprung into action. They had to remove the entire window. Firefighters got into place inside and on the roof.
It was kind of an organized effort of pushing from the outside and pulling from the inside, and then once Whiskey figured out what we were doing, I think he kind of cooperated and jumped through, and it all happened pretty quick.
And as you can see, he pulled through just fine. Whiskey, one spirited St. Bernard.
We're here for many different things, not just fires.
Yeah, good. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it.
Come September, Whiskey is going to need a dog sitter again. His dad is being deployed, and they're hoping to find a foster family. He promises he'll be on his best behavior this time. In Spring Lake Park, Susan Elizabeth Littlefield, WCCO 4 News.
Oh, a St. Bernard of all things, too, like the biggest dog.
Dogs, man. I love it. Dogs are the best. You never know what you're going to get with a dog. They always crack you up. Speaking of never knowing what you're going to get the weather sometimes the same way. It's going to be hot today. That is the one thing we do know, feeling like triple digits as we get you into this afternoon. In fact, it'll be hot tomorrow as well, likely feeling close to triple digits, just not as hot as we get you into your Monday. Around showers and thunderstorms will arrive as we get you Monday night into Tuesday. This is that relief that'll finally cool things down towards average next week.
All right, Chris, thank you. And thanks so much for joining us. Happy Father's Day. Have a great day.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.